Hi everybody, and welcome to this video on healthy compassion. My name is Sue Schneider. I'm with Colorado State University Extension. And I want to just share that as a human species, we deeply care about caring. So Tara Brach, a psychologist, writes, in the moments that we're caring, we feel most at home with who we sense we really are. I think that rings true for a lot of us. We are absolutely hardwired to care. And so in this moment of crisis, we understand fully that on one hand, we need to act. We all need to be taking steps to make sure that we can provide the right kinds of things to help whatever situations are arising on account of this pandemic. And at the same time, we need to know and we need to honor our own boundaries and limitations, particularly since this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So the question that I'm posing in this video is, how do we do healthy compassion? So I'm going to first talk about empathy. Empathy means that you feel what another person is feeling on an emotional level. And we know this exists because of this great research on mirror neurons. So in Italy, a rhesus monkey who was hooked up to electrodes watched a researcher put a peanut in his mouth, and the areas of the monkey's brain that were associated with the joys of eating a peanut lit up, even though that monkey was not eating that peanut himself. And so we know that we actually feel what another person is feeling, whether that's pain or pleasure. The challenge is that we can end up with empathetic overload if we're taking too much of other people's emotions in. So empathetic overload is a condition in which we are experiencing stress and burnout from being in the place of a lot of suffering, which really describes kind of our times right now. And so the question is instead of taking all of it in, how can we move to something called rational empathy that might include experiencing emotional resonance, or, really relating to or understanding what someone's going through, but being able to step back and ask, how can I help, instead of taking on the emotional burden? So this how can I help piece is actually a hallmark of compassion. So the difference between empathy and compassion. Empathy says, you're suffering now and I'm suffering because you're suffering. Compassion is that I am not suffering right now, you are. I see your suffering and I want to help. And that really is the difference. So with compassion, two things are happening. We're perceiving the other's suffering or the other's need, and that there's this instinctive desire to respond, to want to make that situation relieved. This response, this instinctive response, doesn't have to include action. It doesn't mean that you go out there, put yourself in unsafe situations to be helpful. It can mean that you wish someone well in your heart who is suffering. It has boundaries, compassion does. It may not be emotionally or physically safe to act, but there are other ways that you can fulfill your need to respond to suffering. So here's the thing. We all have a compassion instinct. Compassion is essential for our survival. It helps us to rise above our self-interest and to invest in other people. And it has an evolutionary benefit. It's protected our vulnerable offspring for millennia. It helps us cooperate with other non-kin. It's desirable in mate selection. And arguably, we didn't survive as a species only because we were fit. We survived also because we cared and took care of one another. And that is survival of the kindest. So there is a biological basis of compassion, and there's a reason why we engage in it. It produces oxytocin and it motivates us to do good things. It actually leads, research is showing, to a decrease in biological markers of stress and an increase in indices of adaptive immune function. So compassion is very protective. And in this moment, you might be noticing there are a range of compassionate responses to the coronavirus. There may be moments where you want to wish others well, where you want to pick up the phone and check in with people, making face masks. A lot of us are engaged in this work, which is very compassionate. Some of us are bringing groceries to other people, or even volunteering at the food banks, or, organizing different community initiatives, writing grants, mobilizing new resources. And some of us are even on the front lines. We may be working as healthcare workers or therapists, or even working in grocery stores, which are our frontline workers right now. None of these responses are more important than the other. None are more noble. They're all our responses to wish to alleviate the suffering of others. And the responses that we enact right now in our lives are really based on where we are, what kinds of resources we have, whether that's time or financial resources or even energy. Really understanding what's nourishing us and what allows us to nourish others, and really knowing what helps us to be our best self. So I put together a continuum of compassionate actions, and these are by no means an exhausted list, but it does show you that each and every one of these, from an action just from within your heart, I smile at the neighbor I pass by when I'm walking, or I, pick up the phone and I send well wishes to a family member, or I'm actually taking actions. I'm volunteering for a service organization, or I'm making face masks to bring in groceries. All of these actions exemplify the value of bringing compassion in this moment into the world. But again, I'm talking about limitations. Compassion is not about pity. It's not about taking on other people's distress. We don't want to find ourselves in empathetic overload again, because this situation is a marathon. It is not about heroism and accolades or always saying yes. We don't want to be a doormat. We can't put ourselves in non-safe situations either. So it's really important to think about the caveats of compassion, the caveats to giving right now. Are we stepping back when it feels like too much? Are we allowing ourselves the ability to evaluate when it feels like a healthy offering or when it feels like too much? Do we feel like we can say no when we sense that it's the wrong task or we're not ready for the task? Do we ask for help when we need it? So are we balancing the giving and the receiving? Are we taking appropriate steps to take care of ourselves, even in the midst of offering compassion to others? And are we viewing ourselves as a hero or martyr? So really understanding our motivations, understanding the limitations, and giving ourselves a lot of grace as we're trying to do our best during this unprecedented time. So I want to juxtapose two phrases with you. The Dalai Lama talks about being wise, selfish. So this is a generosity that recognizes helping others as helping ourselves. Wise, selfish means that we derive great pleasure and well-being by helping others, which is certainly what I think a lot of us are feeling as we try to do, small and large things these days. But the other side of this is wise compassion. So wise compassion requires healthy boundaries. It knows what a healthy balance actually looks like. Wise compassion understands intention. So it comes from a place of sincere kindness, not that heroism mentality or guilt even. And it understands the benefits of giving, that we are the most joyful when we focus on others, not ourselves. But again, all within the context of understanding boundaries. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself as you explore what it is to be able to give in this particular environment. And what does a balanced and healthy compassion look like in your life? So the first question, what are my motivations? Are you helping because you genuinely want to, or do you feel that external expectations or guilt, these things are driving you? Some questions to think about. Where is my current life balance? Can you maintain the efforts that you're committing to putting out into the community or putting into your family? Do you have enough energy for ongoing efforts, or really should it be more one-time or limited commitments? What exactly does your life balance look like? Reactions to your generosity. What are the reactions of others to your generosity? What are you noticing? Really being able to pay attention. Is there embarrassment or shame when you're checking in constantly with a relative or friend, or when you're offering to help, or when you're doing acts of kindness that someone may feel like they can't reciprocate? And then exploring how you actually feel when you help. Are you feeling obligated or resentful or burnt out? Or is the compassion adding value to your life? So all to say that you are allowed to really look into what healthy boundaries look like, and bringing in a whole dose of self-compassion in these moments where our instinct might really be to be out there and helping and doing what we can. So self-compassion really should be accompanying whatever compassion you're generating, and asking yourself questions like, how accepting am I that I'm doing enough? Is what I'm doing enough, and can I be okay with it, right? So that you're not motivated by guilt. And on the other side of that, the self-kindness piece, how well am I taking care of my needs in this moment? So really important questions to be asking. So a practice of self-compassion that I want to share is called RAIN. It's an acronym. And this has really been popularized by Tara Brach, and she recently published a book called Radical Compassion that really, the entire book is about the practice of RAIN and how powerful it can be. And what this really offers you the chance to do is some self-exploration. So as these questions are coming up for you, or some difficulties about how am I supposed to be in this time of the coronavirus, you can really take the time and look inward. The R is for recognize whatever's happening, just noticing what's coming up for you. And, as you're trying to figure out how to be, what to do, what's enough, what's not enough. The A is for just allowing the experience to be what it is. It's really a lot of letting go and a lot of acceptance. So whatever that struggle is, can you just let it be there? Then you go to the I, which is an investigation with interest and care. And as you're grappling with some of these questions, just taking a look in your body, like, where is this struggle coming from? So if I'm wanting to lurch out and do all of these compassionate actions, but I'm actually afraid to do them, look at the fear. How does it feel in your body? What does that have to tell you? And the last step of RAIN is to nurture with self-compassion. So 2 wings of mindfulness. One wing is awareness, just being aware of what's happening. That's the recognizing and the allowing. And the other wing of mindfulness is compassion. So that's the investigating with care, and it's nurturing with self-compassion. What do I need in this moment to be able to feel okay, or be able to be fully present for whatever's happening? You can practice RAIN formally if you're just sitting and want to work through these steps, or you can practice RAIN informally whenever any challenging feelings arise. So benefits, there are lots of benefits in the research to self-compassion and to compassion. If you are caring for yourself, you can find that it reduces negative mind states and increases positive mind states. If you are offering your care and concern to others through compassion, we know that there's a surge of endorphins that we experience when we help. We often experience a strong sense of purpose, which is helpful for us. We can decrease our stress, and as we've heard in the other videos, that really can affect our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight reaction. It can have positive physiological implications. Compassion also widens our lens, and it helps us move away from being so self-focused. So sometimes the fear and anxiety really, it becomes kind of self-focused tension. And so doing something, whether it's picking up the phone or just wishing someone well, can actually move us a little bit away from that self-focus. Compassion can help us work with loneliness. We feel more connected when we're finding ways to connect. And compassion is certainly contagious. And so we know that a little compassion goes a long way. So I want to close this video by saying that we all need to pitch in right now. Pitching in can include staying home and staying safe. It can include thanking our first responders, our medical personnel, our grocery workers. It can include howling at 8 o'clock as a way to just recognize and acknowledge all of those people. It can include opening our hearts to everyone who's suffering, including ourselves. And it can include actions like calling our neighbors and our friends. There is no act that's too small. And as Jack Kornfield writes, if you think you are too small to be effective, you've never been in a bedroom with a mosquito. And at the same time, we can and should only do what is appropriate and helpful, both for ourselves and for others. So my final quote for you is from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who writes, "Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once, but of stretching to mend the part that is within our reach." So I wish you all well. I encourage you to take a look at the Larimer County Extension website, larimerextension.org. Take a look at a series of mindful self-care videos that are posted there. There's information on a CSU online class called Living Mindfully, and there are ongoing monthly classes that are free and open to the public, and those can all be found under workshops or under health and wellness in the Larimer County Extension website. So go to larimerextension.org, and I wish you all well. Take care.